Yeah, g'day guys. Hopefully we'll just wait a few minutes and then we'll start. And if you can hear me, just say hello and that'll be good. Yeah, stressful times for some people, isn't it? And just looking at the chart, see if I haven't, try and look at the big picture. And get rid of volume, because volume doesn't mean shit, like some people think it does. I don't believe in volume with these indicators anyway. Let's see what we've got there. Just put the default. Because we're looking at the macro, we want to see where the macro is. So that looks like a good level, 36, from a macro perspective, right there. We've got a number of point of control, unfortunately. This red one was one of them. So we've sort of zipped down below it. And you can see the other perspective. We've got 37,000 roughly. So we lost one point of control. This level here, 36,000, I think will give us a bounce. But I doubt it that it will last. So if we come down here to one of these two, we get probably a bounce and then capitulation. So we're looking for capitulation. It's my belief. These levels are now very strong resistance. So even if we go up to there, it's just going to come back down. So look for an entry. If we get a bounce, look for an exit. And I'll go into the details as to why. So what we're doing there is getting a bounce because of that right here, because of this previous support, and as it went up, so we're getting that bit of a bounce there at the moment. But the fear is so high, and this bounce was pretty much a breakout, and this is the way down, so it's not going to really be strong. Let's have a look at the short time period, 5 minutes. That's what it shows. Yeah, that doesn't look bullish at all, does it? That's 1, 2. Anyway, that's what it is. Now let's start. I think we've got enough people online, so let's just auto scale. When I put on the weekly, I'm going to explain something that is very important. That is basically telling me why we're going to get a deeper pullback, and hit all my stop losses. Okay. Yeah, I think the fear of not exiting is a strong, because people don't want to miss out, and all the bullshit out there about the 100,000, yeah, up there. We can see all those moon boys was based on this type of scenario. That scenario looks nothing like this. Nothing like it. Anyway, there's a number of reasons why it's dropped, but we won't go into the reasons at the moment. Let's just talk about the weekly. And what we have from a weekly perspective is a trend. So we've got the weekly candles, high, a higher low. So as we went up, I'll use just, we're having uptrend. Yep. Each one's an uptrend, higher highs and higher lows. And then we've got to here, a higher low, and then we slowly stop the high highs. So this is the last higher low, and this was the next higher low. And when we lost that, what happened? Capitulated. So we lost the weekly trend. Our weekly trend is here. That was our level, and we lost it. So we had a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and then when we start to lose it, that 40k was it. So that 40k, similar to this, look how much it pulled back. So now I'm expecting it to come down. Question is how deep, and no one's going to be able to tell us that. So from a trend perspective, we lost it. We lost the weekly high, or the higher low. So now we have a weekly change in trend. So the weekly trend is finished. No more uptrend. From here and onwards, our weekly trend's broken. So that's not good news. All right, so now what I've done is Fibonacci from top to bottom, just looking for confluence, looking at areas of where things could be. Here is a fair bit of volume at the bottom, and what I did was the average. That volume is roughly about 34.5k. So that is a strong support level. So if this has come down, we're going to find some bounce, 34, 35k, whatever it is. So let's have a closer look at that on the daily. Actually, it's down here, isn't it? There we go. So what value is that? That is, it's 32. I was 34, 33, close to 33. Now, we have that, which matches the fib level. Let's just, we've got a number of fibs. This fib level matches this previous resistance. And looking for confluence, we might have a bit of a support there. And I'm going to start looking at the macro picture. And so that there's a level here where we can see it's coming down to. There's two fibs, one from the bottom to the top, and we've got that 786, and then we've got the macro one, which is this one here. these So what we have is capitulation coming down. Let's have a look at the daily RSI and the weekly RSI. Let's see if that gives us any hand as to how much we've got to go. Okay, so you can see we've still got a fair bit. We can still go down, but this is the COVID period. I don't think anything could really match that one there, the COVID drop. But this one is should be pretty much our reference on the daily. I think a good capitulation that could be roughly close to it, and then finding a bit of a bounce. Not looking good at all. Let's have a look at from a daily perspective, and I did this, and before, if I look at the 4 hour, I want to see something else from another perspective. And it's a fib extension to the downside. And if I recollect, from there, it's to there, to there. Okay, so that doesn't help. Actually, was that? That's the level there from the bottom, that wick. All right, so that has confluence with this 786 as well. And on the 4 hour, it's almost coming down to that level, a bit more deeper. So this level 37 again comes out to be potentially some relief. I think it will stop dropping from there. But this was pretty much a bear flag, and it's getting close to it. Yeah, I think here we're going to have a bit of a rest right around here, yeah. And that's pretty much using the fibs and previous support. So that gives us more weight, 618, macro fib, and then we've got this level here as well. So that box to me is going to give us some relief. It's going to give us a bit of a break. I could be wrong, but I think we'll probably do that, and then a bit more deeper, because the momentum is to the downside. Look to getting out maybe this 0.5, 38k. Yeah, we'll see what happens, but that's pretty much what I think is happening. Looking from a weekly perspective, as I said, it's because we lost a weekly, we are going to drop deeper. I had this view, I think it was, let's see, let me just do this for a sec, a bit of a cleanup. What price that's sitting on the small screen? Okay. I'm not sure which one you're talking about. What happened there? Is that because of daily? Okay, here we go. None of this is working. What? That doesn't make sense. Hold on, this a bit weird. Lost all my settings. Okay. Oh, that's better. Just took a while. And you can see the RSI has really dropped below the 30%, and it's headed down to the 22% on the daily. So I think that aligns well with that section here where there's a fair bit of resistance and confluence with the fib level. So that box, as I said. Now let me help you guys out by increasing the fonts or making it bigger on the browser so you can have a probably better view. If that helps. Oh, okay, all right. So now we will look. I was looking at, and I've posted it in my profile. I was looking for, hoping for actually more so. And if I get rid of the log, it will probably help out a bit more. This was a case. Let's just get rid of that for a sec. And we can see, hold on. Let's just get rid of all that. That can still align with that fib level. So let's see right there. It can. That also looks good. So if I was to just touch the body of the candles, this is the bullish scenario. Very unlikely to be bullish, but never know. So what we have is A, B, C, D, and looking for an E around there. I think it will come down to here, and then a bit of a breakout, and I think it'll be, I'm not hopeful, to tell the truth, and back down. So this will be, along this line, resistance. Now, Why am I being bearish? It's the stock market and a few other things. So if I was to bring up the stock market, let's give us a look. Load. Stock markets in the broader market is pretty much doing the damage. That's the US dollar, and that's on the weekly, and the US dollar on the weekly. I think it's had to do with the Federal Reserve making some announcements, and this was my outlook. Maybe make it blue. So what I have is a reversal structure, either inverted head and shoulders, which could be, left shoulder, pretty much the head, and a bit of a right shoulder, and therefore the target is roughly there. And I'm thinking, yep, we had a bit of a wick, and you can see, I think it's just going to work its way up, the US dollar, and and they around 90 something percent, in the 99%, something like that, somewhere in the chunk of this will be a major resistance level, and we found the bottom, and I think it will just work its way up, but we need to see what the stock market does in the meantime. So the US dollar is pretty much making people move the money around, and we've got to see what happens there, but that's what I think. Now, if we look at the other charts, and just give me a sec. So I'll just move this to the left, and I'll increase this. This is SP 500, and you can see it's really hemorrhaging, and so it's hit one fib level, and if I recollect, it was on a small time frame, I think. I didn't save it, but what I did was from there to there to there. So it's hit the 1.272. So yep, we'll get a bounce, but I have a feeling it's going to go all the way down there. I did post this actually. I think one of these two is going to be the target, and it's going to probably align to this level here. Just really depends on what the US dollar is going to do, and on my if you got a trading view, there is a post. I can't remember exactly. I didn't save it looks like it didn't save the settings, so let me just have a quick look. It will be on my chart there. So I had that one there. I had basically the deviations from the channel, from the mean. Yeah, so I'm talking a bit of technical stuff here. So if I roll that forward, it's pretty much getting there. Yeah, it's almost getting there. Yeah, but so I had that type of scenario where I had those two fib levels. So it's really pulled back deep, and that's caused SP 500, the NASDAQ, they all pretty much have pulled back. Where are we? Here we go. So is this going to be a bear market? Really depends on how the stock market responds, but can it do more? Is it too early? I don't know. It's a big question, isn't it? But there was, and I'll bring it out. Someone did it, and I'll bring it out here. Give me a sec. All right. So I'll bring it out here. You can see it. The earning yield, and what I've done is throughout the years, when the SP 500 came to this level, it dropped a lot. So we pretty much, from based on the this type of inflation rate yield, these were in 74 and 80 and so on, except for the one. Every time it came down to this level, the SP 500 capitulated, and it seems to be doing the same right now. There's more charts, but I don't want to drag all those charts out. So there's a number of indicators, and you can pretty much see that we're going to have a rough time. That was pretty much when we lost that level. Like, you know, that's 2 attempts. We had a bit of a last attempt, and then the last rejection, and you can see. So that's no mystery. You can see that as soon as you break that line there, it's pretty easy. Like, it's not really difficult to figure it out, really. You can use these crypto TA skills on any chart. And this was 100% on the mark. If you look at it, as soon as it broke that trend line, it dumped. And now the question is, this deviation on the channel, and I can't do it, I didn't save it. That is likely, actually, maybe it's down here, isn't it? Let's see if that is that the one. No. Okay. That was my previous, and I was pretty much on the mark up to a point. But anyway, so we need to see, if I was using this, that level. So we lost that, and what I'll do is I'll draw a parallel one. So that's pretty much parallel at the moment. With this channel, actually, let's do a daily. This was pretty much, you can see how we deviated. Didn't make it to the top. So once we got the highs lower and lower, less and less, it's pretty much, and if you look at it from it's like an ascending wedge and a breakdown. So I think this is the target. If that's a wedge, this is the target here. So, yep, still aligns. Anyway, so to me, the SP 500 is still going to drop. And let's go back to the original chart, wherever that is. Okay, here we go. So, yeah, bearish at the moment. And let's put those charts back in. What it means for the alts. Let's have a look. So that's one perspective. And if I look at DOT, for instance, just DOT seems to be right the mark there. So had that trend line for some reason. Yep, and it's finding support. Anyway, let's look at one of my favorites, USDT dominance. Let's see what that's doing. And I'll go to the 2-day chart. And I'll just, that's still came back. Okay. This was gone and it came back again. So anyway, we'll try to ignore this big massive green one. It's a bit of a wrong calculation in there, bit of a bug. So if you look at this historically, and if I could split this, you'll see Bitcoin as well. And the goal is, let me just line it up a bit, and you'll see what I mean by this. A bit closer. Right. It's probably a bit more, and that's almost lined up. You can see my intention here is when we hit the top, this was USDT dominance at its lowest point. And then once we hit that top and we had price coming down, you can see US dominance, Tether dominance going up because everyone's converting their Bitcoin into USDT, Tether. So it's a good example. So we had something like a pattern. Yeah, it's not really hard to read, and up. So you can see even that along here, it was like a wedge as well. So as soon as we break it, you can see how that comes down. That bottom lines up with the all-time high, pretty much aligned there. And then you see Tether dropping because everyone's investing their money back into Bitcoin. Similarly there, that trend line did the trick. I saw that a bit later, but it was good idea to see that this is going up. And I did think this might come back down, being bullish, but that wasn't the case. So this level here, I remember saying it to our group. I do remember this. If it goes above it, we're going to go bearish big time. It's going to pull back deep. So my thinking is it's going to come up to here. Whether that equal deep, it's going to go deep. And I'm going to talk about the scenarios. I've got 3 levels that I'm thinking of. And the scary part is this will be the 3rd touch. We might get a bit of rejection, and that's the scary part. If the big Tether dominance, that is a bear market. So once we break that, and if we go above it, that is a bear market, as far as I'm concerned. So we might have some luck, and the SP500 reverses anywhere in between these levels, goes up, and we see Tether coming down. We don't want to see Tether going above this level. If it does, to me, it's just going to bear market, and that's pretty much confirmed. So that's my indicator, using a few things like that, if that makes sense. Using the Tether as a good indicator. Short term, you can see how I did my Fibonacci from there to there, and pretty much they're all lining up. 618 was the main resistance level, and we broke that. 786 right now. You can see how. Let me just clean it up. So if I make this darker, you can see how it really lines up. Yeah. So right there, we're finding resistance. So I'm hoping that we'll get relief where we are right now. This might, if it goes above it, that's not the level. It's going to drop deeper. Anyway, that's that. That's okay. Go back to here. All right. Let's look on the 30-minute. Let's see what it's doing. So there was a good wick there, 37,700. Okay. If I was to just tweak that a bit, it probably does a job. All right. I think I'm not used to this being so big, so I don't get much into the chart. So yeah, like a bit of a technique there, guys. Have a trend line. If it breaks, get out. Similar. If it breaks, so this was a bit of a fake out. Squeeze out the longs, and now, squeeze out the shorts. That was pretty much that, squeezing out the shorts, and then capitulating. So that's nasty when you look at it. And if you look at this, you can see that that's pretty much what we're going to go sideways, I think, in this layer. I have a gut feeling that we're going sideways for a while. Maybe a bit up and back down again. I'm just bearish at this point. Okay, let's go back. Let's clean this up. So we have scenarios, right? And let's look at those scenarios. Let's just want to look at a bigger picture. Let's just hide that. When can we go bullish? Let's look at the RSI is not going to help. Let's see a daily on the RSI, see if that's going to help us out. Okay, I do remember this. So if I was to use the RSI, I'll actually probably use it like this. If we break this, it's just the first sign. It's not enough for bull to get back to the bull. We have to break the 50% level. That's a reversing trend, and the way it is, yep, no, it's not going to happen. No, I don't think so. What we had here was a nice accumulation, but I could be wrong. The bullish scenario that I have, and I hope it comes out, is pretty much something that really, it just depends. So that could have been our A. That's our B. Looking for the C. The long-term E, and then up. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that this could be, I think now, I've always thought about this. I think that is A. That is B. That is C. That is D. And if we were to be truthful to ourselves, and I'll change that around. At this point, based on a few things, if we get a bounce from here, the 0.5, I don't think it will go above 44, to tell the truth. That's the 0.5. It could be dead cat bounce. But anyway, we'll see what happens. If that was a bounce, the 50K to me, this level here is just not, I just think it's, if we get to that level, I think it's going to happen like that. I've been thinking about that for a while. I'm bearish in that sense. I did think about that bearish scenario. The reason being is, if you look at people's interest in the market when we're doing this, that interest in the general public is gone. And we have a few signs. So you can say that's the 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to have a correction. Now, to find the distance for that correction, it's not going to be easy until we see the bounce. The reason being is, and I'll show you why, as an example. We can use this, I suppose, as an example. When you have some bounce, you get a clue. So from there, if we got there and we had a bounce, you can see roughly it went to 1.618, roughly. So when you get a bounce, you can do this fib method extension and pretty much get a capitulation type of thing there. If I was to remove that, and even from there to there, you could see if I move it across the 618. So this technique, when you get bounces and a bit of history, you can start working out where it's likely to be bottoming out and so on. And there's I've gone through how we got this level. So with those bounces, if we go back here, we're not getting anything from there to there to there. Maybe if I was going to use that as a method, one will be an area that I'll be interested in, and these buggers if I'm going to go really bearish. So from a macro perspective, I'll do the fib extension to the downside. The next one is 25k. 25k to 21k is the bearish scenario, if you were going to ask me that question. If that makes sense. So the bearish scenario is definitely on the table, and let's have a look. So the US dollar is looking to go up. Actually, let's look at the monthlies. Does the monthly give us anything? Okay, you can see the monthly trend. The monthly trend is there, 35k. That's why I got that number. Now I remember. So, using the technique, so if I was to look at the monthly support level, and I'll use the magnet. That's that there. And guys, I'm telling you now, if we lose a monthly level, that means we lose a monthly trend. And I'll recall monthly level. Yep. Okay. So that is a monthly level. And if we go back to the weekly, yeah, that looks light. And if we go to the fib, see if that's got confluence. Yeah, it does. It equates to this one as well. So that monthly level should be a good bounce, good support level. And I think what we did was go back to the daily. Get the volume perspective. I suppose I can do the whole lot. Okay. So we've got two levels here. If you really pay attention. So if I were just to get that out the way, you can see there's a bit of, when we come to that, that's the pinnacle of the volume. And then we've got this pinnacle of the volume again. So we've got two levels. That's the main one. And then we've got this one here. Point of control. Point of control. And I think if I was just to do that, I've got a chart for it, by the way. Weekly point of control. And I'm putting that back in there. You can see how our fibs line up. So this level here, 35, really is a strong point, because we've got the monthly level, we've got the fib level, and roughly volume as well. So if it drops past the 37, and we're close to it, and I think it's based on this little wicks here that we're there. But that there is volume there. If we drop past that volume, and you can see the volume sort of starts at the top. This might give us a bit of relief, but if we pass that, then it's definitely the 35. And I was telling our group that 35 is our next level, and I remember doing this, and that's the reason. Now, trying to be mentally into the game. The whales. What would the whales do? I thought the whales will. I didn't. I always said 30. I thought the whales would just push it down and then spike it back up, and they collect that liquidity from that. Just pretty much like this one here. Whoops. Let me just get rid of the magnet. So we had this support level. Yep, we had that wick, but that was the last. I thought that would be the last test, but we did think that soon, just a bear trap, last bear trap, and a big candle response. That was pretty much on the daily. Once you got that was pretty evident that once it goes back above, that was a good entry. That was a good entry, and a lot of people did that. We anticipated that as well. Unfortunately, I think I was on the road and I couldn't make use of it. I was spewing. I actually missed it by 50 bucks or so. Really pissed off. I missed. I had a few layers, right? And what I did was I layered orders in there, and my biggest order was just below it. And I did get some, but I didn't get the big order when I was spewing. Anyway, it happens. For those guys that need to look at stuff like this, next time you see like this, you see these big patterns, take note of them. We have a community if you want to join, and I told a lot of guys that was. So I closed all my leverages up there. I did a real good job. Sort of 50 buck. I was very lucky there. I was wrapped that I got it right. So I closed all my leverage, all my longs, and I had a stop loss around here. That trend line was my because I learned my lesson from here, right? And so I used that exit. I actually call this out as well. If you want to look at my videos, I did say that this might come back up, and it didn't. So I got stopped out. So I had two levels of stop major exits, and here I did think it was going to be 1, 2, and up. Actually, yeah, and I slept through that, so I couldn't short that. So I was pretty pissed off, and I'm still waiting. And yeah, a few bad trades around there. I actually thought that might be the case, and now I'm looking at that scenario potentially. It's not all bearish, but I do think that if the stock market and the US dollar move decisively come Monday, this is gonna, if US dollar goes up pretty strongly, this is gonna keep going down. What's gonna happen this weekend? I reckon it'll go sideways. I think it's dropped enough for the day, and I think it's going to go sideways, and maybe even come up to this level, back up to this level, and then when come Monday comes, we'll look at what's happening here. That's going to determine what's going to happen. So let's look at a US dollar right now. Is that closed? The market's closed, I think. Don't need that. Doesn't give you the thing, does it? I would think yeah, I live in Australia, Melbourne, so I don't know what time it's in New York and all the rest of in America. So I believe they are closed, are they? Yep, Dow Jones is closed. Yep, market's closed there. Why is this one? Nothing there. Okay. So if the markets are closed, what's the anticipation? You tell me, guys. What do you reckon? US dollar is going to go So if we look at this right now, the US dollar is going sideways, and I think that stopped there. So, but you can see how this has just gone up. This week, you can see how it's just gone up, and you can see the confidence, and I think the tightening of the announcements on the inflation rates and a few other things have pretty much facilitated the drop in the stock market. And the Nasdaq you can see here. So the Nasdaq's pretty much dropped as well. And this was my another perspective for Bitcoin. And once you can see, once you drop, like even the fib fan, you do the fib fan, you drop that level, you can see what happened. So I had this yellow box as my next entry. It's close enough. It's actually that fib fans could be the fib fan as well. 37, there you go. Even the 37,300 on the fib fan equates to that as well. So there's a lot of confluence with 37 at the moment. Might not make it all the way down, but currently that might be it. No more going down. Okay. Is this a fake? Like, is this a shakeout? And then go back up to the 40, regain the weekly 40k. Can it? You reckon? It's not. It's not that much. 37. That can do what? So we've got to see this. So this took 2 days. 2 days of dropping the daily candle, and on the third day a big strong move. So we have 1, 2. Yeah, so we've still got another 10 hours for this to close. So really, this candle will give us an indication if there's a likely chance of reversing. If this wick comes back up here, that's really good, right? So we got to see how this works out today in the next 10 hours. Yeah, it could be that, you know, you got the momentum going down and the whales just go, yep, let's just liquidate them. So liquid, what I do understand, and it's been talked a lot, the liquidity or the derivatives, leveraging of the derivatives of futures is very high, especially the longs, and this is pretty much to shut them out, to squeeze them out. I don't know what that level is. Now, I did say that if this is really bearish, the other aspect is we said that this could be the front run and then back up, or they just leave it alone and they let it naturally find the mean spot, which is there, and then we go up. This is the bullish perspective. I just don't. Yeah, it can. If it comes down to here, I just think they're going to push it more, just to get all these leverages. Because what we had here, this is my thinking. While this was coming down, I believe, especially this part here, this was oversold very significantly, and a lot of long leverages came in, just a lot. And what happened here was all the if there was any shorts coming in, trying to push it down, this was to squeeze them all out. So a lot of long leverages came in, the accumulators. And I did say this was accumulation period. It was evident for me, and there's much better traders than me, and therefore they would have been leveraging long. Okay, and the data says that there's a lot of long leverages. So to me, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, as it comes down here, all these buggers, if they haven't taken their profit, will close their longs because there's not much gain. So they'll close it, and when they close it, it's pretty much selling, and the selling will push a bit more down as they close it down. Some might just leave it, and if it passes that, they'll close it, and by closing it, it'll push it down, and 25k could be the number. and then back up. That's a theory. Don't ask what I have to say, but there's so many possibilities. Now, if we were to imagine that's the case, so let's just get rid of that. Put these buggers back in. We do have a lot of confluence to this level here. So if price was to come down, we have a delay there. We have support there. So there's a lot of possibilities, but that was aligned with all-time high there. So, and if I was to go to the left, just playing the bear market, it's 1.618 as well. So 18K is a worst case scenario for me, definitely. I don't see that happening. That's a capitulation pretty much. But if this was to come down, you can see sort of maybe some sort of descending. Yeah, so if this was to come down here, right, that could be a B, C, comes there, D. Yeah, I'm playing the role, E, and then back up. Historically, we had other stuff like that. You know, that was a channel. Maybe this is a channel. This could be a channel as well. Who knows? But that is the bearish scenario, and there's a lot of levels. No idea, but that's me thinking aloud, playing a bear market role. Yep. But that's definitely, it's going to be hard. This doesn't represent. We were all expecting a blow off top like this. I was, and this is not going to give it to us. This could be. It's just a stock market. If it goes bearish, I thought this might be a massive reaccumulation. This could be a level of reaccumulation before it goes up. That's the most positive part I can see. At the moment, I just can't see that happening. So the wick-off thing works there. Actually, let's go to. How do I spell it? There we go. Wick-off schematics. Bugger, where are they? That's the bottom. So are we doing that sort of type of formation? Don't know. There's four wick-off charts that could assist us. Anyway, and then where do we go bullish? And actually that's perfect. So I did say to the guys that that the daily 20 moving average will be a major resistance, and look, that was perfect to short. Bugger, slept through that one. But yeah, definitely. So I had this. I thought the double bottom could possibly play, or overextension to this level. Anyway, that's another perspective of the chart. Let's look at other charts. So yeah, it's really taking the winds out of it, hasn't it? Hopefully Monday everything turns bullish. At the moment, it's bearish. If you can just do that was playing and it's dropped anyway. That's spot Ethereum. I had Ethereum doing that, and that makes sense. plenty of shorting opportunities, but I didn't get that either. Got other stuff instead. So that is my bullish scenario for Ethereum. Coming down to there, it's close enough. Probably still come down more. And now I'm expecting a bounce from this area. So yeah, it sort of lines up with Bitcoin, doesn't it? So these buggers do line up, and there could be a positive spin. I just don't see, even if we get a bounce, I can't see it going like that. I really can't. I'll see it like that, back down, if there is a chance. Yeah, the US dollar scenario, the US dollar going up in the coming weeks and months, I think is just going to hamper us. It's a big black cloud hang over us. And this is Ethereum against Bitcoin, just losing ground non-stop. So Ethereum's getting hammered as well to all the alts. I think Luna's doing all right. Luna's refusing to go. Luna's refusing to go down that easy. Although, I still 16%. Oh, that's 18%. Still a fair bit. Yeah, that was me hoping that it was going to do inverted head and shoulders, but that is not happening. And you can see how these fibs line up. They all line up. And anyway, and that's our tether. So here's my tether chart. I did say that potentially, yeah, so might have to go higher and then drop the RSI if that can. So I'm going to use this tether, this line. Actually, should be the daily. I think 2 daily. I think the 2 daily was better. That's it. That line. Might just fix that up a bit and use that. So the moment we get this blue line broken, it's probably a reversal, but how much? Don't know. So you can see how this one on the tether, this RSI really did a good job along. As soon as we broke it, it became bullish, Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin pretty much went to the 68K level with this RSI breaking down, and then we're getting this bearish divergence. So you can see that the top was almost there with a bullish divergence on RSI for US Tether. Right now, we're seeing resistance. So we want to see something like this, a lot of wicks, bit of resistance moving forward. I think that's it, guys. If you've got any questions, let me know. But these. I've revealed a fair bit of my tricks of the trade, bit of the tools that I use, and I invite you to join my Telegram or our Telegram community. The details are in my signature. If you go for the bot, you can enjoy 10 days for free, and then you can sign up if you want. Join our community, help contribute to trades, and maybe you can save some money just by looking at what we say and what we talk about. I'm going to wrap it up there, guys.